Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. It's time to go over my NFL takeaways from Week 5 and go over my Week 6 NFL predictions. Let's start with my takeaways for the Thursday Night Football game between the Colts and the Broncos. The Broncos definitely shot themselves in the foot that game. They have only themselves to blame. I still think the Colts are not suddenly going to be a great team per se, but the bad news for the Broncos is that just they have so many injuries, that and the injury pile is just getting worse. Kind of like a Baltimore, San Francisco. Just it's just not looking good right now. And now with Russell Wilson claiming that he has a hurt shoulder and all that, it's just not gonna. I know he's gonna play through it, but it's just things are not looking good for Denver here. I don't feel like they're gonna be able to come back if they lose this game against the Chargers next week and have a 2-4 record. I just don't. Giants versus Packers. Once again, I hate to say this, but Giants got lucky again. For the Packers, their true colors got exposed. Not Saints. Since Barkley had missed some time with the shoulder injury during the game, and the Giants without multiple of their top receivers, this was supposed to be like a top 5 Packers defense coming to games. I thought they would shut them down, but just Packers defense has not been playing well so far this season. I'm not sure the Packers need to fire their defense coordinator or what, but something needs to be fixed there. Steelers versus Bills. I know Tomlin usually gets an underdog, but like I predicted, this would be a blowout, and Tomlin it was to be the first time he'll go over 500. Let's just say that. Chargers versus Browns. Chargers were lucky that Coach Staley's dumb decision to go on 4th and 2 with under 2 minutes left before not even crossing midfield yet didn't cost them. Luckily, the Browns kicker missed yesterday multiple times. This is why everyone has doubts about how good of a coach Brandon Staley is, and that's why, again, if the Chargers don't do as well as they could this year, then he's definitely on the hot seat. Bears versus Vikings. Credit for the Bears for coming back in this game. Also, discredit the Vikings for allowing 69 extra points against a bad Bears offense, but at least the Vikings got the job done and won. Lions versus Patriots. I was dead wrong about being a close game. The Lions getting the upset here. It just shows how Bill Belichick kind of still destroys young or mediocre quarterbacks most of the time. Also shows once again how bad the Lions defense is. Um, Seahawks versus Saints, the Taysom Hill game was in full effect here. You can see why I've been advocating for that Hill is a fine QB, or at least he's a good enough bridge QB in my opinion. I think Andy Dalton's a good backup in the sleep. I think Hill's better. I especially think Hill's better. James Winston's like 50% of himself. Um, I know the Saints won't consider a QB switch right now, but even if Jameis comes back, like Taysom Hill needs to get the ball a lot more. Now, of course, there's different matchups. All some games he's gonna have better than other. Depends on how good the run defense is. Because Seattle didn't have a good run defense, but you need to use Hill more often, basically. If the Saints want to kind of get back above 500 and get themselves back in contention to get a wild card spot. Dolphins versus Jets. It doesn't help to have a third-string quarterback here in Miami, along with a few other players not 100%. But Miami needs to figure out some things on defense while the offense has overcome injury problems if they want to avoid losing any more games. Now for the Jets, congrats on finally being up 500 for the first time in a while. It's interesting, you go to Green Bay, to Denver, and then you host New England before their bye week. So if you can if you can at least be 500 by the bye week, then you should like their chances of being in the wildcard mix by the end of the year. Falcons versus Bucks, like I predicted, despite the injuries, the Falcons wouldn't go away and make this a close game, and sure enough, it was. They just had a bad rougher the passer call, didn't kind of prevented them from trying to win this game. But the offense for the Falcons still has some stuff to figure out, though. The same with the Bucks, because they could have easily scored more than 21 in this game, but they didn't. Titans versus Commanders. At least the Commanders had a chance to win the final seconds there, but too bad Wentz is their QB and screwed up once again. With how the NFC East looks now, their playoff chances are on life support. Texans versus Jaguars. Texans finally won a game. Congrats to them. Jaguars still can't beat Houston for some reason, dating back 2 years ago. After an explosive few weeks for Jacksonville, they kind of died down and not had looked as good in the past 2 weeks. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on with their offense recently. We'll see if they can be able to overcome it or not. 49ers versus Panthers, as expected, a good team dominates a bad team. 49ers unfortunately do sustain some injuries there, but um, they should be able to survive for the next couple weeks. And then for while players are getting healthy, and then for the Panthers, they finally fired Matt Rule. Good for them. We'll see who they hire going forward. And now with Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker's a star, so they're one of the top bets to be the number 1 pick this year. Cowboys versus Rams. Cowboys defense once again got the job done. Cowboys rushing offense was also good. But it'll be interesting to see who starts at QB against the Eagles for the Cowboys. Um, Luckily for the Rams, I know they're not looking great now, but luckily they get Carolina next week and then a bye. So hopefully in a couple weeks they'll look better. Eagles versus Cardinals. Eagles finally didn't play a pretty game here, especially on defense for the second half. Kind of like the same thing against Detroit back in week 1, but credit to them, they got the job done. And now if they can just beat the Cowboys at home here, then they should be going on a winning streak for a lot longer, in my opinion, based off their schedule. For the Cardinals, once again, a slow start costing them this game. Shocker. It's a trend going. It's a trend that's been happening every single game this year. Also, didn't help to rely on a backup kicker to win this game. It is what it is. Good news is, the Cardinals just have one more game without DeAndre Hopkins. So, if the Cardinals can win this week and finish 3-3, then with Hopkins back, they have a good chance to still make the playoffs. Bengals versus Ravens. The Ravens' pass defense finally played well which is good since the Baltimore offense struggled at times. The defense needed to step up. If the defense can just play that going forward, then they can easily win the division and have success. For the Bengals, it looks like their offense does more work to do after all. Luckily, they got some time, but if they want to avoid being a wildcard team, want to win the division, they have to get that changed soon. And then the Raiders and Chiefs Monday Night Football game. The Chiefs, survived. That's the most important thing. They have the Bills next week. That's what matters in the end, especially against a division rival. For the Raiders, another blown opportunity here. I personally feel like they shouldn't have gone for 2 there, but it is what it is. Now they can use this early buy opportunity to kind of figure things out to salvage their season. So now it's time to go over my Week 6 NFL predictions. So let's start off with the Thursday Night Football game tomorrow between Chicago and Washington. 2 bad teams here. So unfortunately, we might have a similar Thursday Night Football game to the one we had last week, where it's not that entertaining. I do feel like it'll be close, like last week's one. In the end, I do feel like Chicago here because I feel like their defense, especially their defense line against Washington's O line, will be the difference of the game there. I have Chicago winning barely 16-14. Okay, now for Sunday you got 49ers versus Falcons. 49ers find out boy favorites there. I know Falcons have been keeping games close with every single team they play, whether they're the better team or not. But I do feel like this is one of those games where the Falcons will finally lose by more than one possession. I feel like it's a 2-possession type of win here for the 49ers just because their run game is just so dominant. And I feel like that's going to eat up clock, and the Falcons won't get as many offensive possessions as they would like. So therefore, I do feel like 49ers take advantage of one of them winning 28-13. Next, you got the Patriots versus the Browns. Browns are 3-point favorites at home. Now, I actually like the Patriots here. For whether it's Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi playing, for one, Bill Belichick obviously knows Jacoby Brissett, because Jacoby used to be on the Patriots and honestly knows how to defend him well. So I feel like that will be the difference of the game there. So I have Patriots winning 20-17. Next, you have the Jets versus the Packers. Packers are 7-point favorites here. I do not feel like the Packers cover that 7-point spread there. I know they're at Lambeau Field and they want to bounce back for having a bad game last week, but I just don't see that happening. I feel like Jets will keep this close. But in the end, I do feel like the Packers will get lucky, find some way to win this game here. I have them winning 26-24. Next, you got the Jaguars versus the Colts. Colts are favored by 2 here. Now, this one's a really a toss-up game for me. I have literally no idea who's going to win this game. But I'm just going to both teams are. This is going to be more of a defensive game. I do feel like Jacksonville will finally figure something out to get back on the winning side here and kind of get momentum back on their side. I have them winning 17-16. Next, we have the Vikings versus the Dolphins. Vikings are 3-point favorites here on the road. I'm taking Minnesota here, whether it's Skylar Thompson, the starting quarterback, or Teddy Bridgewater, the backup quarterback for Miami, playing. I just feel like the Miami defense has been exposed the past couple weeks in Minnesota with their offensive weapons, and offensive commanding coach can find a way to take advantage of that. Also, since this is a 1 o'clock game, not a primetime game, Kirk Cousins will play a little bit better. So I have them winning by 24-23. Next, you got the Bengals versus Saints. Now, again, I have no idea who's going to win this game. It's a tough one because Saints, with their defensive line, should be able to have a heyday on a bad Bengals line. But then again, the Saints have a lot of injuries. Chris Olave is now in concussion protocol. Jarvis Landry is out last week. Michael Thomas is out last week, although he should be able to play this week. James Winston, who knows that he's playing. There's just like a lot of injuries there. And I feel and I feel like if they're not going to have a lot of their offensive weapons, then that'll definitely help the Cincinnati defense, who's already pretty good. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and have Cincinnati win this game. I know the Saints are running off a high after last week, but I'm going to have them win and bounce back after Cincinnati couldn't get the job done last weekend. They're winning 23-21. Next, you get the Ravens versus Giants. Ravens are favored by 5 here on the road. Now, I'm going to take the Ravens to win here, but they do not cover. I do think the Giants will make this a closer game because, again, what's one thing they do this whole season so far? They make games close, you know. And then, second, I do feel like because it's at home, the Ravens are coming off the high, beating the Bengals. They're going to kind of, take a step back, not be as crisp as they were last week. So I do have the Ravens winning. They're the better team, but again, it'll be a weird game, closer than expected. Have them winning 20-16. Next, you get the Buccaneers versus the Steelers. Buccaneers win easily 34-10, as we saw again with Pittsburgh. They're just in a dumps right now. Panthers versus Rams. I have Rams winning 17-6 here. Panthers for PJ Walker's not going to get the job done. Although the Panthers defense will make this a closer game than it even should be. Cardinals versus Seahawks. Again, is a coin flip type of game here. I do have the Cardinals starting off slow, like they do every year, but I feel like this is one of those games where they can bounce back and win this game. I have them winning 27-24 on the road here. Next, you got the big Bills versus Chiefs game. Again, this can go either way. But again, after just watching the Chiefs' pass defense over recent weeks, I feel like the Bills are easily going to be able to exploit that here in this game. So I have them winning 24-20. And then for the Sunday football game, you have the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Eagles are 5-point favorites here. I actually have whether it's Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush playing, I have Philadelphia winning here. I just feel like their momentum right now is really high right now, and I feel like their defense specifically can finally cause problems for the Cowboys off, especially if Cooper Rush is starting. So I do feel like they get the win here by touchdown, 20-13. And then for the Monday Night Football game, you have the Broncos and the Chargers. Chargers favored by 5.5. I think they cover that easily. I know it's an in-division game here, but I do not trust the Broncos offense whatsoever here. The only way the Chargers lose the game is if Brandon Staley loses it, in my opinion. So I have the Chargers winning by 10 here, 23-13. And thank you very much for listening to my podcast. Please subscribe to my channel to learn about me. Thank you very much. Now have a wonderful day.